Alright, so for this podcast, we're going to be talking about how to graph lines using what's called the slope-intercept form. Okay, so here's what that is. Alright, so the slope-intercept form of a linear equation. Okay, all the equations you've been seeing so far mostly have been in slope-intercept form. You just didn't realize it. So here's what slope-intercept form is. It is the y equals mx plus b form, okay, where m is the slope. We talked about that before, right? And then this new letter, the b is the y-intercept, okay? Now, intercepts are something you talked about the last chapter on functions, okay? So what is the y-intercept? Well, the y-intercept is where a line crosses the y-axis. That's why it's called the y-intercept, because it's where it crosses the y-axis, okay? And the x value is 0 in a y-intercept, and it looks like this. It'll be 0, comma, whatever number it crosses the y at, okay? So once again, just to kind of recap that, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. That's something you're going to need to memorize, okay? And once again, this is key because the m is the slope, the b is the y-intercept, all right? And so it's always in this format, okay? When it's in this format, it's, the reason why we have this is because what's in here, here's the slope in front of the x, here's the y-intercept. If it's not in this format, you cannot see the slope and intercept. You would need to change it, okay? Alright, and this is, something that's going to be carried out throughout the whole year. Anytime you graph, it's all about slope-intercept form, okay? Alright, so here's how you graph a line using slope-intercept, okay? So here are your steps. Step 1, rewrite it in slope-intercept form if needed. Okay, so if it's already in there, you're ready to go. But if you need to change it, got to do that first. Now, step 2, you need to find the y-intercept first and plot it. That's where you have to start with. And then step 3, find the slope and use it to plot another point. Step 4, draw the line connecting the points. That's it. But the order is very important here. Alright, so here's why. So, here's our equation. Y equals negative 2x plus 6. Alright, once again, let me write. I'm going to just write on top of this, the slope-intercept. Y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to just kind of write it on top so you can kind of see what numbers line up for which variables. Okay? So if I look at it this way, this is in slope-intercept form because the y is by itself. Y equals mx plus b. So I want the y-intercept first. The y-intercept is the b. Well, what's where the b is at? It's just a positive 6. Okay? Now the slope. Here's the thing. The slope is the m. It's in front of the x. The x is not actually part of the answer. It's just the coefficient, the number in front. So here the slope is negative 2. Okay, so those are going to be the two pieces of information that help me here. Alright? Now, once again, here's why I have to start with the y-intercept. I'm just going to make a fake line here. But let's just say this is the line, right? Whatever slope this line has, if I move it here, it's the same slope. If I move it here, it's the same slope. See, it doesn't matter where I move this line, the slope stays the same. But you'll notice what's changing is where it's crossing the y-axis. Here it's crossing here. Now it's crossing at 0. Now it's crossing in the negative, right? So the thing is, we have to start with the y-intercept because the y-intercept is giving us a location of the line. The slope can have that slope anywhere. Okay? So, in order for us to graph this, we start with the y-intercept, step 2. So the y-intercept is at 6. Remember, this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. So the y-intercept crosses the y. It's like crossing the street at 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I put a dot. That is my y-intercept of 6. Alright, now I need another point. I'm going to find the slope and use it to plot another point. So I'm going to take this and find the slope or the way the line's changing. So here's how I can think about it. I want to put it as a fraction because remember, slope is rise over run. So when I have a whole number like this, the slope is negative 2, but how do I make any whole number into a fraction? I just put it over 1. because negative 2 divided by 1 is negative 2. So anytime it's a whole number, you put it over 1 because it means the same thing. So now what this means is I'm going to take my slope in negative 2. That means my rise is negative, it's down. Now my run, that's the left and right, is positive, so I go right. So that's how I'm going to move my dot. So I'm going to start here at the intercept, and I'm going to follow my slope. 2 down, don't put the dot yet, don't forget your run, 1 over. And if I do it again, 2 down, 1 over, it's going to form a straight line. Okay? So that's when you're going to take your ruler, and you're going to connect your dots. Oh, I was a little off there. Here we go. Alright, don't forget your arrows on your line because they are going on forever. Alright, and once again, use your eyeball check. It's a negative slope, so it should be going downhill, right? So we're good there. Alright, let's try another one. So now the next function is y equals 5x minus 6. So once again, just so we can kind of train how to look at it, the formula is y equals mx plus b. Alright, so now let's look at our intercept. What's in the place of b? It's not just a 6, now it's a negative 6. Okay, sign in front's always part, right? Part of the number. And now the slope is what's in front of the x? 5. Okay, so now I'm going to graph that. Always start with the y-intercept. Now the y-intercept is negative 6. So start at 0. I'm going to go down negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6. Okay. Alright. Now my slope is 5, but I need it as rise over run. I'm going to put it into a fraction, 5 over 1. So what does that mean? Because the top number is positive, I'm going to rise up. Because the bottom number is positive, I'm going to run to the right. Okay? So now let's take this point and use the slope from here. So I'm going to start with my intercept, go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 1. And go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 1. So you can see those lines are, or those points I should say, are lined up in a straight fashion here. And you just line your ruler up, arrowheads on the line. Okay? And just remember it, when you graph this line, the answer is every point on the line. The whole line is the answer. Okay? Any one point is an answer. Alright? Alright, so let's keep it going here. So now, let's see if you can remember. So formula is y equals mx plus b. Let's look at this first equation. Y-intercept is negative 2. Alright, now this one, look at the slope. In front of the x, the slope is 1/5. Okay? So now we're going to graph it as such. Start always with the y-intercept. Y-intercept is negative 2. There's my first point on my line. Slope gets me to the other point. Now here, look, the slope is already a fraction, so I'm not going to put it over 1. Once again, the formula is rise over run. And look, in this case, it equals 1/5. My rise is 1, my run is 5. So I'm going to rise up 1 over 5 because they're both positive. So up 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over. Up 1, 1, 2, oh, it'll go off. So we'll just connect those two lines. Alright, and there's our straight line going through. Okay. Alright, now this one. Here's our function, y equals negative 2/3 x plus 6. Y-intercept first. Here the y-intercept is positive 6. And my slope is a negative 2 over 3. Alright, so let's start with the same place again, always starting with the y-intercept. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, now let's take a look at the slope. So the slope is already in fraction form, so I do not put a 1 on the bottom. I only do that for whole numbers. So because it's a negative 2, that means my rise, I'm rising down 2 because it's negative. The bottom number is 3, so it's 3 to the right. So start at our intercept, down 2, run right 3. Down 2, 1, 2, 3. Alright, and then we'll kind of connect those points here. Alright, and once again, if I use my eyeball test, Our slope is negative, right? So it should be going downhill, which it does. Okay? Alright, last example here. Now look at this function. 2x plus y equals 3. Okay, so that means the y-intercept is 3 and the slope is 2, right? Wrong. Can't use that here. Remember, this is not in slope-intercept. Remember, I always need it in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. See, this is not in the right form. So I'm going to take this equation and I'm going to solve it for y. It's just like a literal equation. So if I have 2x plus y equals 3, I want y by itself. So how do I get rid of all this? I do minus 2x on both sides. That's gone. Y is by itself. And then I have 3 minus 2x. But here's what I have to do here. Now it's y equals, I got my b and then my mx, right? So I'm just going to flip-flop these to put the mx first and the b next. Just remember, when you move things around, keep the same value. What kind of 2x is this? It's a negative 2x. So when I move it to the front, it's still going to be a negative 2x. This 3, nothing in front of it means positive 3. So when I move it to the back, I got to put the plus for positive 3. So now, this is the equation I have to use. And you're going to see it's going to change my answers. Well, the y-intercept is still 3. But here the slope is negative 2. Okay? But that's why you have to change it. It's not always going to be this similar. Sometimes it'll change both numbers or change it more drastically. So if it's not a slope-intercept, you got to change it. Now I graph it like normal. Always start with the slope or intercept. Always start with the intercept. So here the y-intercept is positive 3. 1, 2, 3. Now my slope is negative 2. That does not give me rise over run, so we'll just put it over 1. That's my rise, that's my run. I'm going to rise down 2 and over 1. So down 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1. Alright, now we're going to use our ruler, connect our lines, and that's how we graph it. Okay? So once again, that's how you graph lines using slope-intercept form. It basically gives you the answers. If it's in slope-intercept form, it gives you the slope, it gives you the intercept, and then you start with the intercept and then graph the slope after that. If it's not in the format, you've got to solve for y first and then proceed as normal. Alright?